And we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. Okay, welcome to Gentle Yoga for Beginners and Everybody. My favorite way, whenever I get a chance to take a yoga class, which I try to do as often as possible, I won't say that I do every day. Oh, come on, Lily, you're blocking everything. Come on, little baby. This is Lily. She's upset because her sister is in the box that she wants to sit in. But whenever I take a class, my favorite thing to do is start on the back. And one of my favorite positions is to take a blanket, and this is everything in this class is optional. I like to say in yoga, you know your body better than anyone else. So I'm going to offer suggestions, but you can always find agency and you have choice. So it's not like anything is required. But a nice way to start for me, I think, especially because some of you were talking about computer work and driving, is kind of a little heart opener. So you can either take your yoga mat or maybe a blanket or a towel and make just a really small blanket roll. And this is going to go right underneath your heart center. So you can practice this also, like if you felt like you didn't want to come onto the floor, you could also sit in a chair or maybe lie in the bed. Sometimes I have a friend who comes to class and she lays down. Come on, little baby. Oh, maybe I might have to take her in the, you know what? Just one. Okay, cat cries are in the house now. So as you arrive, you might allow this blanket roll just to be right underneath sort of that area right behind your heart. And then maybe you rest your arms at your sides, or you might rest your elbows on that blanket roll. And if this is uncomfortable, just simply toss the blanket aside. You might bring your hands to rest on your belly, or even cactus the arms. And then with your feet, go ahead and walk the feet as wide as the mat. Allow the knees to fall in together and support each other in kind of like a teepee shape. And then you might close your eyes or soften your gaze and just feel your whole body being held and supported, relaxing all effort. Taking a moment to pause, you can release any thoughts of the past, allowing any of your plans for the future to wait. Allowing yourself to practice being in the present moment. And to do that, you might kind of tune into the impermanence of your breath, feeling the rise and the fall of your breath, sensing into the support beneath you. You might even begin to listen for the sound of your breath. In this series that is 10 weeks, I like to bring in the idea of the yamas and the niyamas. So this is the book by Deborah Adele, and it is subtitled Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practices. Many people, especially in our Western culture, think of yoga as the postures, which are called asana. But there are actually 8 limbs of yoga, and 2 of those are the yamas and the niyamas, and there are 10 of each. The very first one is called Ahimsa, and it means nonviolence. So I have a short reading, and you can just allow these words to sort of wash over you. No need to get super fixated on them. But as you hear them, if there is something that resonates with you or speaks to you, you could think of that as an intention today for your practice. In the book by Deborah Adele, she says, nonviolence is so valued that it stands at the very core and foundation of all yoga philosophy and practice. We grow our capacity to be nonviolent by learning how to move through the everyday challenges of life and by addressing the things that precipitate our tendencies towards violence. Ahimsa, nonviolence, means to do no harm and calls forth from us our most brilliant and best self. Our capacity to be nonviolent depends on our proactive practice of courage, balance, love of self, and compassion for others. So if any of these words about nonviolence speak to you, feel free to use them as an intention for your practice today. From where you are on your mat, from wherever you are, you might decide to invite some gentle movements into the body now. So we could stretch the arms open into a letter T, and then just allow the knees to gently sway from side to side. If your feet are open out as wide as your mat, you might find that the top knee is floating down towards the opposite foot. And you can make this as big or as small of a movement, remembering that each of these shapes that we explore in our body are infinite. And our place within them today is going to change, and we can practice compassion towards ourselves and curiosity. You might start to bring your neck and spine and head into the movement by turning your gaze in the opposite direction as your knees. And I love that gentle movement of turning the head from side to side. You might even think about that as a no. So often we're encouraged to say yes, but sometimes it's important to balance that with the ability to softly and gently reject what doesn't serve us. That's part of balance too. So take one more nice deep breath on each side, and then we'll roll over onto one side, press yourself up, and we're going to move the blanket off to the side. So if you had the blanket roll, you can just move it off to the side, and then we'll come back onto our back. If you have a strap handy or a block, you can go ahead and grab those, and then we'll come onto the back body. If you like, you can hug your knees a little bit in towards your chest, and then just start to gently rock a little bit side to side. Give yourself a nice big hug. Oops, I just want to make sure everybody's muted here. Okay. And then from here, we'll go ahead and bring both feet back down to the mat. You can hug the right knee in towards the body, and you can either keep your left foot on the ground, or if it would feel okay, you could extend the left leg long. This one is called Apanasana, or wind relieving pose. And so this can be a nice compression on the internal organs. And another advantage of doing yoga at home is maybe some wind is there that needs to be relieved. LOL. From here, if you have the strap, you could either use a strap or you could hold on to your pant legs. And then we'll wrap the strap if you have it. And you could also use like a towel, a dish towel might work, or the a belt, or the belt of a robe. And you could wrap the strap around the ball of your right foot, extending your right leg up towards the sky, finding some length along the back side of your right leg. Take some nice deep breaths, allowing the stretch and your breath to cascade down the back side of your right leg. Notice where you can soften your effort. So this is the idea of balance, balancing your effort and your ease, relaxing maybe the hinge of your jaw. I know for me, that's sort of a habitual place where I carry tension in the jaw, and that tension can lead all the way up into the temples. So just noticing, allowing yourself to be in this moment in your body. And then you have the option to stay here, or you could start to open your right leg out to the right. So I'm transferring the reins of the strap into the right hand, opening the right leg any amount. If you found that it felt like it was going too far, you could have a piece of furniture or maybe a wall next to you that you could lean your leg on, just looking for a little bit of sensation through the inner seam of your right leg. And maybe any other places that you notice sensation. Allow your shoulders to soften. Once more, feel the earth catch you. The whole entire planet rising to meet you, supporting your weight. And then on the next inhale breath, you could bring that leg back up to center. Maybe you transfer the reins of the strap now into the left hand and just allow the right leg to gently cross the midline. So we're not looking for a twist, but more so keeping the whole back body grounded as you find a little bit of sensation through the outer edge of your right leg. Staying with your breath and noticing your thoughts. Can you bring the thoughts back to center, back to the present, without shaming yourself or getting irritated, maybe just offering yourself that self-love and compassion that you so freely give to others. We'll take one more nice deep breath on this side, and then you can bring the leg back up to center. We'll stretch both legs long and then reach both arms overhead if that feels comfortable. You could take a long body stretch and just sort of notice the difference right now from left to right. Maybe you feel a little off balance because your right leg got that stretch and your left leg might be eager for its turn. Just take a moment to sit with that, and then we'll start to rotate the wrists and the ankles. When we do this movement, I mean, I'm not a doctor, okay, but we do this movement. I've heard in yoga classes, it's said that it's helping to lubricate our joints with synovial fluid. So go ahead and reverse the direction of those circles. And then once more, we'll plant the feet on the mat. And then if it feels comfortable for you, you can hug both knees into the chest. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe this time you want to pick your nose up and point it towards your knees, giving yourself a nice big hug. And then we'll soften the head back down to the mat. Release both feet, but then this time we're going to hug the left knee into the body for Apanasana, wind relieving pose. You can just give your leg a little hug. You can keep that right foot on the mat, or you could extend that leg long. Just giving yourself some gratitude. Nice little bit of a massage for the internal organs as you find some compression. We'll take one more nice deep breath, just like this. And then when you're ready, you can extend that leg long, either hugging on to the back of the thigh. Sometimes people want to interlace the hand behind the thigh. That could work. Or hugging on, or holding onto the pant leg. Or you could also bring the strap around the ball of the left foot, extending the foot up towards the sky. And as you settle into this side, your mind might start to notice differences from left to right. And you offer yourself compassion and cultivate curiosity. You might sense gratitude for the leg and all that it's done to support you. Notice where you can soften. And then we'll bring the reins of the strap into the left hand. Start to allow the left leg to open any amount to the left. Remember, there's no finish line. There's no goal here. It's just to be with the body, sensing that sensation. And if you feel like the leg is going too far, but you don't have a piece of furniture, but you have a block, you could try wedging the block maybe underneath the thigh just to offer a little bit of support. Notice if you can relax the jaw, soften the shoulders, and even soften your grip with your hand. Sometimes I think about the idea of what is just enough effort. How can I balance that with my own ease? Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we'll float the leg back up to center. Bring the reins of the strap maybe over into the right hand and just allow the left leg to gently cross the midline. So you're not necessarily yet coming into a twist, just thinking about the outer edge of the left leg. Where do you notice sensation? Allowing your grip to soften maybe 10% more. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then with your next inhale, you can bring the foot back up to center. Release your hand and the strap. Stretch both legs long. Reach both arms up overhead and find that long body stretch. Our bodies, even though they're beautifully symmetrical, aren't perfectly symmetrical. So it's okay to notice the variations from side to side. And we're going to find a little banana shape. So you can walk the feet over to the right and then lift your torso, reach your hands like superhero hands over to the right as well. And you might find yourself forming a little C shape with the body. Finding a nice stretch along the left side. If you'd like to try deepening the stretch, you could grab hold of your left wrist in your right hand, maybe even cross your right ankle over your left shin, and see if you can notice the sensation along your side body. Imagine your breath is cascading down the side of your body, opening through the side of the rib cage, under the armpit, or wherever you're noticing sensation. Take one more nice deep breath here, and maybe even sigh it out through the mouth. And then we'll come back to center, reaching your legs and your arms long. And then we're going to find the other side. So you can start to walk your legs over to the left this time. Lift the torso maybe a little bit. Superhero your arms over to the left. And then if you want to try deepening the stretch, you could always grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And maybe you cross your left ankle over your right shin. Allow for some nice deep breaths. Breathing into sensations in your own body. And sending those areas compassion, gratitude. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. You're always welcome to stay a little longer. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Take that nice long body stretch, reaching the arms past the ears. And once more, let's lubricate the wrists and the ankles with some circles. And maybe this time, as you're circling the wrists and the ankles, and then switch directions, maybe you notice less Rice Krispies, like those little snap crackle pops. And that means that we've kind of helped our joints, haven't we? We've lubricated them. When you're ready, you can find your way to a seat. So however would work best for you. If you like, you could hug the knees into the chest and maybe rock and roll up and down the length of your spine a few times, if that feels okay. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and come to a seat, and that can be in a chair, or it could also be on a pillow or blanket. Sometimes it's nice to take a blanket and then make a little pillow with a blanket so that you can kind of lift the hips, elevate the hips. We're not going to stay in any position for too long because I know it can be challenging to even sit cross-legged. So feel free to find a chair. That's why I have my chair, is so that anytime if I don't want to sit on the ground, I can find any other position that you like. If you have blocks, you might have them handy. And then from here, we'll take a moment to just find our comfortable seat. Bring your eyelids to maybe close or soften your gaze down towards the ground. Feel your sit bones rooted down on the ground, and you might even have a little slight tilt in the pelvis if you're sitting up on a blanket. See if you can find neutral, lengthening the spine, allowing the crown of the head to shine up towards the sky. And then on your next exhale, we'll gently allow the head to bow towards the heart, finding some length, maybe a nice gentle stretch along the back of the neck. And then on your next inhale, you might float your right ear any amount towards your right shoulder, finding some length along the left side of the neck. On your next exhale, we'll bow the head once more towards the heart. And then inhale as you float the left ear towards the left shoulder, allowing the right shoulder to fall away from the ear. And then move at the pace of your own breath. Once more, there's no finish line. Each of these shapes is infinite. We're just looking for where is the sensation. You're going to float from side to side, exhaling as you bow, inhaling as you bring the ear towards the shoulder. I don't know about you, but wow, I feel it along the side of my neck. Once more, noticing how we can lubricate the joints, moving with softness. One more time on each side. The next time you bow your head towards your heart, if you feel balanced from left to right, no rush. We'll pause there for a moment. And then you can lift your gaze up to center. You might press your palms back either on the ground or on blocks and extend your legs long. Give them a little shake. And then let's reverse the cross of the ankles if that feels okay. It might feel really awkward because we get into our habitual patterns. Let's go ahead and plant the right hand either on a block or on the mat. And then you can sweep the left arm up towards the sky. And you might even look up at your fingertips. You could stay right here, or if you would like to find some movement, maybe you float the fingertips out in front at a diagonal, and then sweep the arm back up and around. Finding some movement for the shoulder, and maybe even the neck if you're following your fingertips with your gaze. Go ahead and take one more nice big circle, painting a gorgeous rainbow over the body with your imagination. And the next time you lift those fingertips up towards the sky, let's reach both arms up. You can draw your hands to your heart center in a gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. And then we'll find the other side, so you can plant the left hand either on a block or on the ground. If you're sitting in a chair, you could also hug the side of the chair. And then we'll float the right arm up towards the sky, reaching the fingertips up. You might gaze up at your hand. And you can always stay here, or maybe you want to draw those beautiful big circles, pressing into the left hand as you trace that nice big circle with the right hand. And it could feel good for the neck to just follow your fingertips with your gaze. Go ahead and draw one more nice big circle. And the next time your hand reaches up towards the sky, we'll pause there. And then go ahead and reach both hands up. And exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Now we're going to do some spinal flexion. and extension with cat cow. And this can be done on hands and knees, but I heard that, the wrists and the knees can be tender. So feel free to stay seated. If it's hard to even stay and cross-legged, you could bring the legs out, and then you might slide the hands onto the thighs. Inhale to lift the chest forward. Exhale to round the spine back. If you're wanting to move into hands and knees for this, you could stack your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and then we'll inhale, bring the torso forward, the chest forward, and then exhale, round the spine back. Go ahead and take a few more rounds of breath. At any time, if it would feel good to sort of explore some other movement, you might draw a nice big circle with the belly button. Feeling free to find any movements here that would feel good to you. If you've moved in one direction and you want to draw a big circle in the other direction, allow yourself that opportunity. And if any positions feel extra juicy or need special attention, you might pause for a breath. Take a moment to feel balanced from left to right or side to side or front to back. And then when you feel ready, we're going to move to standing. And so for standing, I'm going to show how you might use a chair or a piece of furniture to help you get from the floor to standing. So I'm going to bring my hands to the seat of the chair. I have both of my toes tucked under, and I'm going to step the left foot forward, tuck the right toes under, and lift the back knee to step both feet together. But you can get to standing however you like. On your way to stand, maybe it would feel good to pause for a moment in a forward fold. So you have options and choices. You might walk your feet a little wide to make room for your belly in your forward fold. And then maybe you grab hold of your opposite elbows and just allow yourself a moment here to ragdoll left to right. Swaying a little side to side. I'm going to bring the blocks now in front of me, but you can also do this with a chair, or you could plant your palms on your shins. So either blocks, shins, chair, and we'll press into whatever support you have. Lengthen your spine forward as you come up halfway. Lengthening through the spine, and then exhale to forward fold. Go ahead and take that 2 more times if you like. Inhale to lengthen your spine forward. Exhale to forward fold. And one more time, just like this. Now, the next time you come into a forward fold, find a little micro bend in your knees. Imagine your legs are spring loaded, and then use the strength of your legs to softly press your torso up to stand. We'll rise to center, and you could sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale to draw the hands into the heart. Anjali Mudra, gesture of gratitude. We'll take a moment to pause here in our mountain pose. This is called Tadasana. And just feel your feet rooting down on the earth. Imagine just like if you were to sprout maybe you grow sprouts or sprouting like a plant. Can you see the roots coming off of your feet, drawing up nourishment? Now allow your hands to rest at your heart and just feel the rhythm of your own heartbeat. With each pound of that drum beat, you might sense gratitude. Maybe you can name something you feel grateful for in your life. And then we'll blink the eyes open and we're going to come into a warrior one. So this is going to be, it's called Virabhadrasana. If you want the Sanskrit name, Virabhadrasana 1. We're going to step the right foot forward, the left foot back, imagining your feet are on two different train tracks, and then you can find as much or as little bend in the front knee. And your back toes are kind of pointed out at an angle. You can keep your hands right here on your hips. You could draw them to your heart, or if you'd like, you could extend them up, lifting your heart, maybe even lifting your gaze. Feeling yourself strong in your warrior position. And then from here, we'll float the hands either down to the hips, or you could tug on the back of your shirt, or another opportunity to use the strap between your back two hands. Or if it feels okay, you could interlace your hands at your low back. We're going to find humble warrior next. So on your next inhale, you can grow your heart forward and up, and then start to lead with your heart as your torso comes down to rest on your front thigh. You could also use the chair or blocks to hold your hands for support. Or if your hands are at your low back, if it would feel okay for your shoulders, you could start to allow your hands to sort of fall overhead. But that might be too intense. So just be mindful of your shoulders and do what serves you best. We'll take one more nice deep breath in our humble warrior. And then you can pivot on the back toes of your back foot. And then we'll just step that foot forward to come back into our forward fold with hands either on blocks, shins, or the chair. Take one more nice deep breath here. We'll press into support to find that halfway lift, lengthening through the spine, pointing the crown of the head forward, keeping the gaze low onto the ground. So you're finding length through the back of the neck. Exhale to forward fold, and then once more you can spring load your legs, maybe finding a slight bend in the knees. Press yourself up to stand, sweeping the hands wide and then drawing the hands into the heart. Take a moment to pause, maybe bringing the hands once more to rest on the heart center. You might see how that heartbeat of yours has changed, the rhythm with your effort. Take a moment to blink the eyes open, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to set up so that you can see me. I'm going to step the left foot forward, right foot back. Again, I'll put those blocks out in front. And then you're going to find that lunge position, bending as much or as little into the front knee. You might notice the difference between this knee and the other knee. You can leave your hands at your hips, bring them to your heart, or if you like, float them up towards the sky, lifting the heart. Maybe a tiny little back bend here. You might gaze forward or up, feeling strong and rooted in your warrior, soft and gentle from the belly button up. On the next exhale, we'll float the hands wherever they would like to land, on the hips, maybe interlacing the hands behind you. And if you're interlacing the hands, you might try the awkward way, kind of reversing our habitual patterns. And then from here, we're going to find that humble warrior. So lifting the heart and then Lead with the heart as you hinge forward. Allow your torso to rest, maybe on your front thigh. You could keep your hands at your hips or bring them down for more support onto the floor or blocks. Or if you're interlacing the hands and if it feels okay for the shoulders, you could extend the arms long, allowing the fingers to sort of fall overhead. Whenever you're ready, you can release your hands down to your blocks. We'll turn on to the ball of the right toes, and then you can step the feet forward, come into your forward fold. Maybe interlacing the hands around the elbows once more to find that ragdoll position. And then we'll bring the hands onto shins, blocks, or chair. Press into support to find the halfway lift, lengthening the spine. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding into Uttanasana, and then finding the strength of your legs to press yourself up to stand. Circle sweep the arms and bring all the goodness back into your heart center. Take one more pause to feel the rhythm of your heart. Noticing if there's any words of gratitude that spring up from the beautiful well of your heart. And then we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to work on balance. So for balance, you could use a wall, and that could be really nice, or a chair. And remembering that balance is part of how we practice nonviolence. So we want to be really gentle and kind to ourselves and offer ourselves support. So we're going to do tree pose, Vrikshasana, the name of that in Sanskrit. So I'm going to bring the weight into my right leg and just peel the left heel off of the mat. This right here, we're right here exploring balance. This could be your tree pose. My brother has a knee injury, so he always is very careful about his knee, which is smart move. So we want to be careful about those knees. But if you want to turn the knee open, you could slide the heel right up against your ankle for a little bit of hip opening. You could even start to drag the heel up so that your foot is on your calf, or also being mindful of the knee. Sometimes people like to bring it above the knee. I find that to be a little bit cumbersome, so I'm going to leave mine below the knee. And you can hold on for support, bringing just the left hand to the heart in that prayer position. Or if you really want to challenge your balance here, noticing it's going to be a movement, not a fixed position, you can find a dristi, and this is a soft, gentle gaze point. It could be on the ground, at the horizon, up towards the sky, and maybe you bring both hands together at your heart. And that's going to really challenge your balance. From here, you might open the 3 middle fingers, forming a little lotus flower at the heart center. And then maybe you can imagine whatever intention, maybe it's Ahimsa, nonviolence, as a glowing jewel right there in the center of your palms. And then allow your fingertips to grow up towards the sky. A lotus flower blooming from the depths of the pond. And then whenever you're ready, we'll step it out. And just like a palm tree, you can allow your arms to sway side to side, shaking it all off, leaving it in the past. Balance is going to look different for everyone, and it will look different from day to day. Take one more nice deep breath. allowing your arms to graze your sides and then slowly bring it back to center. We'll step the feet together, coming into our mountain pose, Tadasana. Feet rooting down on the ground. Slight tilt, so it's like your tailbone is tucking under, allowing your lower belly to do a little bit of the work for you. You might feel a bit of engagement there. And then we'll get ready for our tree pose on the other side. So I might bring my chair to the other side. And then just like before, we could shift the weight now into our left foot and maybe just peel the right heel off the mat. Truth be told, I feel this is enough sometimes for balance, and it might be a nice, gentle stretch for the right foot. You could stay right here or peel the right knee open. Bring maybe the heel right up against the ankle. I'm sure I like to go to acupuncture. I feel like there's probably some kind of acupuncture channel or spot there. Maybe you drag the heel up onto the calf or jump it over the knee. You could bring this time the right hand to the heart. And if you want to just try letting go of the chair, you can bring both hands to the heart. Find that dristi, the gentle gaze point, soft, gentle focus on a fixed place out in front of you. If you'd like, you can bloom the 3 middle fingers open, creating a lotus flower mudra. You can always fall out or change your mind. It's kind of nice to anchor the toes down for a little bit of extra support. And then you might visualize that beautiful glowing jewel, Ahimsa, nonviolence. Take it from your heart and send it out to all the beings on the planet and in the universe. And then you can float the hands down. We'll step both feet out and shake it all off, letting it go. You could move it up so like you're throwing a bucket of water over your shoulder. Be like, oh yeah, feels good. And then slowly allow that movement to soften as you come back to center. We'll step the feet towards each other, finding our mountain pose, Tadasana. Maybe you bring your hands to rest on your heart. Once more, feel the beating of your heart. And with each beat, maybe you could challenge yourself to find one thing that you feel grateful for. And then we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to come down onto the mat. So I'll introduce downward dog in case you want to do downward dog. That's not absolutely necessary. And I'm going to introduce it with, I sometimes like to do downward dog with the blocks. And there was a request last term for using the chair. So I'll bring the chair into my down dog and try a chair dog. So I'm going to walk the feet back with my hands on the seat, lengthening through the spine. And then this could be your chair dog. Finding length through the upper back and shoulders. Reaching your sit bones towards the back wall. And then to come on to hands and knees, I'll step my left foot forward, lower onto the right knee, and then bring both knees onto the ground just in time to come onto my seat. From here, we'll do a little bit to strengthen through our core in boat pose, Navasana. I remember it's Navasana because it sounds like Navy. In the Navy, I guess they are on boats. So I'll bring my hands forward with my feet on the ground. And then start to lean the torso back just to find that bit of strength and engagement in the core. If you like, you could also tuck your hands behind your thighs, lift your heart, and then maybe you bring one knee up, other knee up, or both knees up, just to find a little bit of balance. You can also bring your feet onto the ground as well. So finding your version of boat, allowing yourself to play around here. And then whenever you feel ready, you can pull your knees in towards your chest, roll onto your back, and we'll find our happy baby pose. So you might bring your knees wide, either keep your hands tucked behind your knees, bringing the knees open, or you could walk your hands up onto your calves or your ankles. It could be nice if you want to grab hold of your ankles to rotate your feet, kind of giving a little massage to your ankles, or you could hook your hands onto your feet, finding Ananda Balasana, which means happy baby. I like to rock onto one knee, extend the opposite leg long, just find any bit of playfulness, gentle massage for the back. And believe it or not, it's already time for our final resting pose, Shavasana, corpse pose, which is said to be the most important part of our practice, allowing us to soften and still the mind, integrate our practice. If there are any last poses, though, that you would like to explore, you would be welcome to do that now. It can be sometimes a little bit hard on the back to extend the legs long. So another option is, well, this would be one option, is to lay flat on the ground. Another option would be to take that blanket roll and roll it underneath the knees, so you have like a little bit of support underneath the knees, or you can come back into the constructive rest pose that we started in, with the feet on the ground and the knees caving in towards each other for support. So allow yourself to find any kind of gentle resting position. You can begin to soften the forehead. Maybe smooth out the creases of your eyelids. Relaxing the hinge of your jaw. Allowing your shoulders to rest heavy on the earth. Feel the hug of gravity holding you to the ground. Feel the support of the solid Mother Earth cradling you. There's so many amazingly good quotes in this book that I highly recommend. The Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele. And she also includes some beautiful quotes here. One of them comes from a young Holocaust victim named Eddie Hillesum, whose journals were actually found. She's a little bit older than Anne Frank, but her journals were found after she was a victim of the Holocaust. And one of the quotes from her says, "Ultimately, we just have one moral duty: to reclaim large areas of peace within ourselves, more and more peace, and to reflect it towards others. And the more peace there is in us, the more peace there will also be in our troubled world. The beautiful thing about a Zoom yoga practice is that you are welcome to rest here in your Shavasana, allowing your body to repair, rejuvenate as long as feels right for you. If you're feeling ready to reawaken the body, you can maybe start to invite some gentle rotations in the wrists and ankles, wiggling your fingers and toes. Absolutely no rush. You might extend your arms overhead, finding a long body stretch. Maybe rolling onto one side, hugging yourself into a little fetal position. Whenever you feel ready, you could press yourself up into a seat. You might invite your hands to meet at your heart in a gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. You might allow your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to guide you through your practice today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means peace, peace, peace for ourselves, each other, and enough for the rest of the world. Thank you, everyone. And please feel free to let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, or requests for future classes.